is another edition of the On the Mic podcast. And as we preview PFL week 2, the first time we talked, he said we were going to talk more. He's kept his word. We're talking more. Second time in just a matter of months, the one and only Impa Kasanganay. Impa, welcome back. And man, how excited are you to get this 2024 season started?
Words can't describe it sometimes, It's like I'm ready to do what I love. It's like you have so many things going on in life. And it's not bad things, like not what was me, more like it's a blessing. Like just so many things going on. And the one thing you're like, man, just to add to everything else going on is being back fighting. We'll go. 5 fights total this year, 4 more fights this year. Like, I guess I'm stoked, I'm like, I'm ready to do what I love. And you get to do it consistently.
Absolutely. And obviously you had success last year. I know the last fight didn't, turn out the way you wanted, but was there anything you were able to take away from yourself that not motivates you a little bit more, but has your confidence soaring a little bit? Because a lot of people were singing your praises, during the fight, after the fight. So is there anything you were able to take away from that and be like, all right?
Yeah, and many things, right? And I'm still learning from it too. Johnny's an excellent fighter. I never had to argue on the fact that I beat him, right? I was never the one to say like, "Oh, I won the fight." I didn't have to like shout it from the rooftops and argue it. But there's a pretty large consensus that I won, right? And then if I sought validation from what people said, or sought validation from money, like maybe it would change things. But I know who I am. I know what I did, right? And if that's one of the best fighters in the world, if you're one of the best fighters in the world now, I guess it makes you one of the best fighters in history. And to be able to do what we did, how we did it, and only know that we're improving, I'm grateful. So for me, yeah, it gives me that. Last fight camp, I was like, man, I know I could be so much better. Last fight, I recognized that we're getting better. Going into it, I was like, you know what? Like after the fact of the fight and reflecting on it, I said, man, there's so much more ahead to achieve and accomplish. And I believe that I solidified myself as one of the best fighters in the world. To be, definitely flat out the best fighter in the world is my focus. And in history is my focus, really, not just like now. Past, present, future has always been like a goal I've written down. I would always say be the best past, present, and future. And the fact that I fought a guy like that, did what I did, and I know that can be better. Yeah, definitely adds some validity to the work that's been put in.
And it's got to be a warning to those that you will face throughout the PFL tournament. But when you do have a performance like that, where so many people were singing not only your praises, but the fact that they could have given you the win, and more than likely should have given you the win. When you're looking at just the public reception that you're getting, and obviously it wasn't the best night in the crossover event if you're going head to head between PFL and Bellator. But when you
Yeah.
see what you've been able to accomplish in PFL and just the show you put on for PFL in that event in February, how much pride do you have in all of that?
Ah, man, I'm grateful. It's not just, it's PFL you're proud to be a part of. I'm proud to have the trainers that I have, the trainers that went out there with me, Dieter Navarro, Henry Hoover, Greg Jones. I had Delano Taylor out there, Elvin Espinoza, but especially, Delano, Dieter, Greg, and Henry. Like that meant a ton to me, right? And the fact that we rode out there, we did what we did. We won the fight. You can say what you want about the decision. Like I don't put my life or anything in the hands of the judges. Like I know who I am and what I've done, and I respect Johnny as a man because he wants the rematch. He called for it. He said, "Let's do a 5-round rematch," and I think it would be the best way to do it is to have 2 more. I'll claim this next victory. I claim the one after that. Finish the tiebreaker is my focus, and I'm not a trash talker. I'm not putting anybody down as a man. Like this is how I do it, and I move forward. Man, sometimes you go into a fight and so many people can say what they want before the fight, but the only thing is like when you know who you are and you show what you can do, you gain a lot from it. And that was a great feeling to have to know that me knowing who I am, trusting that going into that fight, didn't matter what the odds were, didn't matter what the people said, that I was gonna go in that fight and I was gonna go do what I needed to do. And the fact that I still know I can keep improving it better definitely makes me happy. So there's a lot of, I guess you could say, pride in that, but a lot of inspiration from that. Sorry, my dogs are really barking.
No, you're fine. I'm trying to make sure mine doesn't start going crazy either. But no, and you're right, because obviously you go in, you win the belt. There's so many people going, "What? We can't wait to see what he does next." And then you do that, and it's just so much respect to you for the way you've handled not only that, but the future with
Mhm.
Johnny Eplin. And we know that there's going to be new fighters. You'll be taking on Alex Polizzi, week 2 of the PFL tournament, live from Las Vegas on April 12th. And when you have an influx of the Bellator additions and other fighters that will be a part of this tournament this year, you've been there and done that. How do you feel your experience in the tournament's going to help you?
Oh man, I know that it's one fight at a time. So many people are so focused on the end. Yes, challenge of the champions always been my call. Me focusing on staying active and dominating. The way to do that is one fight at a time. So I think that's where the experience plays off. You shouldn't necessarily even have to focus on what's next if you do your job right now. What's next will come along with it, right? You don't know who's going to be hurt. You know, who's going to be out. I mean, even the main event changed, right? Phil Davis was out, right? He's going to fight. He's going to fight Rob Wilkinson. That changed. You can't focus so much on what's going to change and what's not. You just got to focus on the task at hand and the battle at hand. And that for me is definitely going to pay off. And I know who I am. I know I'm champion. I know I'm coming in as champion, challenger two champion, and forever champion. So the same thing at the end of 2024. Claim this victory. PFL 2024 light heavyweight champion. I move forward and I go get that victory. Then Riyadh or wherever the next super fights may be, and I stay active and I keep doing what I'm doing.
Exciting for myself as someone who covers, your career, and then should be exciting, obviously, for the fans. More IMPA, the better for PFL, for yourself, for the fans,
Thank you.
people like myself. But it is a little different, however, because when you're in other promotions, like your previous promotion, that won't be named, when you're champion, you go from, getting when you're working towards a belt, you're hunting the belt. Then you become the hunted. But in PFL, it's a little different because there's a tournament style. But do you feel any sense of everyone's trying to catch up to Impa?
Nah, I don't focus on other people. You know, I just focus on I'm going to be the best version of myself today. I gotta. If I was going to fight the Emperor from last year, I finish him in a second. You know, that's how I. That's if I'm going to have any sense of a goal or something like that. It wouldn't even be, oh, everybody's coming from me. I could care less what everybody else is doing. I'm going to focus on what I need to do, and then they have the game plan for me. And it's like, I'm going to go impose my will, claim these victories. I respect all the fighters that I fight. I respect all the men that I stand across the cage with. No matter what, that's the enemy. I go do my job. I get to go do my job. I go claim that victory and move forward. I'm not sitting here trying to flare up because I'll love everybody that I see and I pray for them before and after the fight, even during it. But it's like when I look at it, it's like, you can chase me, you can think nothing of me, you can think the world of me, lock the cage doors. I did my job, I claim my victory, I move forward. I finish with my hands raised. I don't I don't stress none of that.
And but every time I talk to you, I get a little sense of like I'm ready to run through a wall after I have a talk with you. So
Thanks.
it's always a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank
Uh,
you.
Before I let you go, though, obviously, taking out Alex Polizzi, as I mentioned, what should we expect from you? Obviously, like you said, it's respect to every opponent that you have, but you're going in
Mhm,
there, you're looking to continue off the success you had last year. What
mhm.
should we expect the 2024 version of Impa going in against his fight against Alex?
All first round finishes. Dominate, take them all out, impose my will from the get go, fight intelligently, trust my trainers. And you're gonna see the most dominant. They say last year was the dominant year. They'll pale in comparison to this one.
And then last one for me, when you continue to bring up dominance and, not just in your performance, but in your mindset, in your training and all of that, what does dominance in display throughout your fights and in your mentality, what does that ultimately do for you long term? If you just continue just to dominate, you don't accept decisions, you don't accept anything, you just go dominate. What does that lead Impa to be in 5 years from now?
5 years from now, it's before that time even comes, it's already saying that that's the best fight in the world. Doesn't matter what organization, doesn't matter where he is, doesn't matter what's going on. He's definitely the best fighter in history, right? Take a record aside, I don't. They don't stress about the records. They don't care about this. They just know that that guy is the most dominant person you will ever see in a cage. And I'll only want the one who comes after me, the ones who come after me, to say, "Wow, the one I want somebody to do better than me." And I want to set that standard so hard. He set the standard so high. He didn't care about decisions. He didn't care about what the rest said. He didn't care about what anybody had to say. All he focused on was honor God, do his job. And in 5 years, like that's the best fighter in history. That's the best fighter. You can learn a lot from him. And that I love people. I'm not a perfect person. At the same time, he fights like a man. He responds as a man. And he respects people as a man. And he's been a multiple time champion and going to continue to do it.
You're a champion inside the cage and outside the cage. You're a hell of a respectful and powerful man. So I appreciate it. All the best to you next Friday. PFL Week 2, live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Impa Kasanganay gets another championship tournament started for himself. I can't wait to see it against Alex Polizzi. Impa, thank you so much, and hopefully we'll talk after your fight.
Thank you. Yes, for sure. We will. God
Thank
bless.
you.